Everybody ready? Are you ready, clerk?
Or no.
All right. I'll make a motion to call the meeting to order. Do I have a second?
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Does anyone have any items they would like to disclose or recuse themselves from?
I have nothing.
I am not. Nope. Dan? Nope. Okay. I have spoken with Chuck Malcolm and he texted me about half an hour. He should be here about 6:30, so we're going to have a break for an attorney-client session about 6:30.
Oh, so he'll be here in person?
He'll be here.
Oh, great.
Correct.
Great.
That is correct. First item we have is a report from the building inspector.
Everybody should have a copy, correct?
Yes.
All right, a couple of just add-on things. I met Mr. Perinello. Apparently they're getting ready to open the lounge. I went through the old special permit and the approvals from the county, verified that there's a few things he has to fix compared to what the old requirements for the stairway and the food in the basement, just doing some convenience. They're doing no cooking per se. They have a hot plate. And that was granted with the other permit.
Tell me again what you're.
The lounge.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They don't have a name yet, which is funny, because they applied the oak room.
So the oak room.
Right, but it's going to have a new name then, or?
The oak room.
They're up in the air.
We should call the lounge.
They took the sign down, actually, finally. So, but they're getting ready, he's in there doing work, so, and I went through and gave him a initial CO right now based on a few missing items. So they're moving along. I've done the, getting ready to send out the waste hauler letters. We have one tonight that we approved by the board, waste hauler for the village. They will be added in, obviously, in the organizational meeting for approval. If you approve their service in the village. And then last but not least, I had the pleasure of serving Steve Shirky today.
And you're still alive?
Yeah, I'm so glad I did it in a public place, the Starbucks.
Okay,
And made it a little nicer than going to his place. So
okay.
that should be an interesting valley. They covered the sidewalk today.
You covered the what?
Well, that's another violation.
I know, I told him that. I said, you shouldn't have touched it until he went to the port and tried to figure out what to do. He said, well, they told me I could either have two or none. And I said, I went back.
The issue is that an exterior change visible from a public way requires review from the HPD.
Right. And I said, I went back to the minutes too. He said, oh, I swear they said two or none. And I told the minutes, I researched and found the minutes, and that was never so. So it should be.
May I pause for a moment?
Mm-hmm.
With this report and Zach's report and others, and then the 6:30 with the attorney, Casey, I don't think we're going to get to you till at least 7. I think, so if you want to go somewhere and come back.
I'll sit and educate myself.
Okay.
I mean, I mine's basically done.
Casey, just to be realistic, it's probably going to be about 7:30 before we get.
Okay.
We will get to you.
You might want to do it for me?
You go ahead.
I think Jeff wanted to be here because he looked at different options to accomplish what Lot 32 is trying to do, so I think we really need to wait for Jeff Turner.
I appreciate that. We had quite a few discussions in regards to that.
And I read Zach's report, it's
Pretty
not that-
straightforward. Yeah.
So that's not gonna take that much.
Well, let's keep moving ahead.
So, I mean, unless anybody has a real question, I pretty much tried to put everything in the report.
Did you give me a little note about the vinyl window in the rental house on State Street opposite the Israel Stone house?
No.
Okay, I sent you a text message last week. The green rental house across the street from where the real estate agency is, in the Israel Stone House.
Which is the Andrew Soul.
Duncan's.
It used to be Duncan Studio, now it's a real estate agency. It's the one next to Bob Michaels, between Bob Michaels and the Regain.
Okay.
Across the street, there's a new vinyl window in the gable.
Okay, and I did, contact, Andy in regards to the door.
Okay.
And they made him get an application, they will come before the board for approval for that door.
I noticed around several homes without garage doors are missing for some reason, removed or whatever. One on South, the beginning of South Street.
Part of the last one on the end.
Yes. And then there's another one on Locust Street, third house, second house on the left, which you come up from South. It's a little
The ranch.
shotgun house with a yellow trim. It has no garage doors.
It's missing?
Hmm?
It's missing, you're sure?
Missing.
Missing, it's the ranch house on Locust.
There was a third one. I'll have to go back and look. But definitely those two. But what is the status of that one on South?
The house, I mean, that house is a mess, and I have to go after them. You know, it's kind of hard to figure out what to do.
Is there an owner or?
Everybody's up in the air. Is she still there, or is it just the gentleman that's
Oh,
trained?
she's deceased. The
Pardon?
woman who owned the house, my understanding is she's
She's
deceased.
deceased, so it's only that they.
And the, oh, no, you're talking about the two individuals who were living together. I see.
Yeah.
We should be able to find out who paid
I'll
the county
find out who
taxes.
owns it, and
Yes,
and
yeah.
go after that, yeah.
Because they were squatting in that house.
All right. And at a point, I got a call because there were all the tents in the backyard.
Right,
And they're, at least that part gone, but now they got a tarp up over the door, I didn't notice that.
right.
It's the first time I've seen a car there.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things
And
going
that's the
on.
worst property in the village right now, for sure.
And unfortunately, it's the first thing you see when you turn down south,
Yep.
coming into the village.
Correct. How's the renovation coming on State Street? The-
Rachel's,
No,
No,
zombie
the
house.
they're doing nothing right now. Oh, the Tommy House, you're talking about 69?
69, right.
Actually, they're doing quite well there. They're coming along very nice.
Shutters are going back up?
They will go back.
Okay.
Yeah, and they totally redid that place, all the framing, sub-framing on one section was completely gone.
I believe that. I noticed, I was wondering about the posts, that looked like there were some temporary posts on the side porch.
Yes, so they gotta cover those properly and make them look like the original box posts.
Okay.
They know that, and it's the one thing I keep getting on them for, but they're working inside, obviously, trying to get that, done and ready, so.
Okay.
Right?
Okay,
Very
great.
nice.
Great. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Zach?
There's some other Brett McCarthy's 3-month introductory period will end at the end of February. And typically what we've done in the past after that, then he's eligible for the CDL permit. He's so far been a quick study and has shown promise in employee, and I'd like to explain the introductory period and allow him to pursue the CDL license starting tomorrow. He's ready for the test, he's been going out practice tests, this is for the permit. This time of year is the best time for us to be able to train him how to drive on the road, downtime, so it's easier for us to take him outside the village to roads that are all invented and have him drive. When spring comes, then we're gonna get busy into, doing repairs and other spring activities and starting on the season. And it gets a little crazy, and we don't always find time for new drivers to be able to drive, so. The sooner that we get him behind the wheel, the better. So what I'm asking is approval to let him take his permit test.
I would suggest though that we put a note in the file documenting that you've reviewed his performance and found it to be exemplary. And just because we're making an exception, and we should document why we're, I'm sorry.
No, it's in here.
Okay, all right.
It's in here, yeah.
Okay,
No, because I was gonna do the same thing.
yeah.
So, yeah, we
Good
can,
to go.
probably, we can go ahead with it, document the file, the reasoning behind it, and we're okay.
Okay.
Good.
Flower basket chain hooks, we already discussed, it's all been right there for you to go look at it. So for this month, we have finished 9 park benches, there are 4 more that we're bringing in for the spring. We have worked on 120 hours of overtime man hours plowing, salting, and removing snow in the last 3 weeks. We finished the mooring bollards for
I
vehicle.
had a question on the overtime, can I stop you there?
Yeah.
So, refresh my memory, when overtime is accrued by you guys, is that paid as overtime cash, or is that just kind of extra hours in the bank that you end up taking comp time for later?
It's time and a half.
Okay. That's what I thought, just wanted to.
Perform vehicle and equipment services, trim trees, patch potholes, pick up brush as needed. Steve and I have attended Stormwater Coalition meetings and training classes. Regarding the storm sewer failure out front of Village Hall, if you go through the records and DOT drawings of past DOT projects, it would appear that the approximate 200 feet of storm sewer and cross connections would fall in the village from Pittsburgh's jurisdiction. I have asked Scott Hart to look at the records to verify.
We already went over that.
Yeah. So I think Friday, when we meet, we can figure out stuff.
Yep.
And I've also discussed with Steve about the implementing of a permit for utility companies. They have to submit plans for the work to be done on village streets and in the right of way along with the line of credit or bond to ensure that if any problems that may arise after the work has been completed, the accountability and responsibility will be easier to determine.
That's a great idea.
We have a perfect example of that, Elmbrook Road.
Yeah.
We had no sooner paved the road. Was it the water authority?
Well, it was RGA doing gas stations.
They came in and they dug up a spot, and now it's sunk. So,
And all the tree roots that they had cut out of there, the old trees,
Yeah.
sections of the sidewalk. And
Yeah, so there's a perfect example. and I can support this.
I agree.
So Steve and I are currently working on that.
So you come forward with a proposal?
Yep.
Okay, good.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Frank, did you want to talk about that, when, the timing about putting the signs up later or during the DPW report?
For the
For the 20
Like
mile.
2-mile-an-hour signs, do you want to do that now or later? Talk about when Zach might want to,
Yeah, we might want to talk about the signs now. Sure. Is that, yeah, sure, go ahead.
when do you want to, when do we want to have him put them up? It
South
sounds like
Street,
you had some
the
thoughts.
30 mile, or 20 mile per hour
Yeah.
signs.
Right now, they're under about 3 feet of snow with all the snow getting pushed up on the side of the road. If we wait till March 1st, I think that would be
Yeah,
a
that's what I
suggestion.
suggested.
I think that would be a good time.
And we've got the new posts.
Yeah, we have all the material ready to go, so we have the signs, the posts, we have new signs to put on the posts, so they stand out, rather than just the number being changed on them.
Right.
Yeah, so we're good to go. I've also got quotes for solar powered speed sentries,
Yeah.
and flashing, solar powered flashing, crosswalk signs too. If you want.
The sheriff's department mentioned that they have one of those radar signs, and they won't put it out if there's any chance of snow. So after they know it's not going to snow anymore, which I know is kind of difficult, but they said they can bring theirs out as well. So we might as well use that
There's not a whole lot of
room to put
room
it.
to put a trailer like that.
Okay.
You
Yeah, I
have to
don't
put it in
know
so
what
much
they have.
water.
You'd have to put it in the median between the sidewalk, and there's only certain places where
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
wide
yeah.
enough to do that without blocking the sidewalk.
I don't know what kind of, is it a trailer? Is
Yeah.
that usually what they bring out?
Yeah, they have a tool behind it.
Okay,
It's pretty large.
okay, so it may not be, my thought.
I mean, they try it if they want to get, leave it out there.
Given the, tight clearances there, it might be better to.
We should just put it in the middle of the road. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe
Alright,
drive
so
around.
Now,
March 1st, unless we have lots of snow and you guys need more time to, we're saying March
Okay.
1st for the signs, right? Is that good?
Okay,
That's good.
All
That
right.
makes sense.
What was for the DOT, what work on
the work, we're just gonna keep everyone updated. And I don't know if we actually have anything new since last time, I think Bob went to a meeting, but, is there anything Zach doesn't know that he needs to know?
I don't think so.
Okay, I think you're
There's
correct.
another, yeah, I don't think there's anything new that we haven't
Just that we
discussed.
told that, well, no, you were here for that meeting, you know that it's gonna be open.
Yep.
So, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're current.
Okay, very good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, Dave.
Have a good night.
Glad to hear you guys working out.
Dorothea? Good.
Does everybody have the bill pay or do they need a?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Mary's sent out this afternoon. Let's see, she's flagging thing.
Oh, the new one, did the new one make it in your most recent packet?
Yes,
Okay.
was there a new one?
No. She sent a new one yesterday or today?
Today.
Today, so that one made it.
It was only this, yeah. Okay, it's a total, we're looking at grand total between general fund and sewer, there was no cost of $16,907.48. Is there any questions or concerns?
Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the vouchers, abstract number 17, in the amount of $16,907.48.
Do we have a second?
I have,
Yeah,
go ahead,
Good
second.
question.
I have a question.
I have a question as well, so I'll go after
Okay.
the list before you.
We have a second, it's still on the floor, so go ahead with the questions.
Go ahead, Lily, you first.
The most recent Zoglin bill, is that in this bill pay or is that in the next one?
I don't believe there's any attorney bills in this.
Okay.
Before
Then I'll withdraw my question.
I stand on it, let me just quickly look. No, I'm not seeing anything, no attorneys.
Okay.
The voucher 497, Town of Pittsburgh Court parking ticket report. Wait, why is it, why is the report $2,300? Or is that what they call the shared?
We have to, when we collect for parking tickets, we have to send the money to the town, we send it to the state, and then we get cut a check.
Okay,
It's
Alright.
complicated,
good. I
it
just,
makes no sense. We give them money so they can get it back, but it's the way it has to be recorded.
okay, thank you. Now you can continue, sorry, I didn't mean to relay the vote.
That's all right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Can I raise an issue about attorney bill?
Yes.
The Zoglin Group, last month, I raised the point that we were billed, and one of the attorneys billed for $90 an hour more than what they were approved for, $350 an hour versus $260. We have another bill that has been sent in,
At which rate?
and it's the same amount, $350 an hour. I don't remember us approving any increase in the attorney's fees, and I'd like to ask that we pursue this issue. Who is it?
We got, so Frank, you were not at the last meeting, and in the last meeting packet, there is a letter that explains what the discrepancy in the rate is. So somebody, it might have been Dorothea, it might have been Mary, called the Zoglin Group, and the Zoglin Group wrote up, okay, here's why we invoiced this at that amount. So I'll look for that right now, but it pretty cleanly explained it.
So we just need to Frank's point, make sure that that aligns with this new batch of bills. We just need to make sure it aligns with what that letter says as well. Make sure that the rate looks correct based on the purpose.
We have another bill that we got dated January 1 to January 31, and it lists legal services, and it's $350 an hour. Even though they sent something, that needed to be approved by the board. They just can't raise the rate.
Right. So I actually have it right here. Do you want me to read it? It's pretty short.
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
It's 2 paragraphs. Blah, blah, blah. Jeff Turner requested Mindy's advice, and it is from Julie Montana at Zoglin.
Okay.
It's dated January 21st. Jeff Turner requested Mindy's advice regarding whether there was a need for seeker or LWRP review for the new comp plan and zoning code amendments. This work is outside the scope of the flat fee arrangement and therefore was charged at our municipal rates on invoice 95. The flat fee is $1,600 and the additional work done was $442. The flat fee agreement is limited to work regarding the planning and zoning board monthly meetings. Please contact me if you have questions. So they're saying that since it falls outside of the scope of the flat fee, they're using their standard rates. I don't have the agreement in front of me, so I don't know if they're allowed to do that.
Yeah, the agreement that we have with them is for $260 an hour. They can't just raise the rate. They don't even mention any rate. There wasn't any approval for a rate increase by the board. They just can't do that.
So let's pull the agreement then, and
Yeah.
take a look at what the agreement says.
Yeah.
Here.
I think that.
Well, I've seen it, and I don't have it, but I've seen it, and there's nothing in there that talks about.
So there's no authorization of $350.
Exactly,
And we should have gotten notice if the rate was to be increased.
exactly.
Right, okay.
So it's a different rate because it's a different purpose is what they're saying. So-
Right, but in our contract with them, that, I believe what it says is they can bill us above the flat fee for the monthly services, but there's no authorization to do so at a different rate.
So then we need to, anytime there's something outside of that scope of that agreement, because that was caused by Jeff calling to ask for something different that's outside of the scope of our agreement. So what we need to do is make sure she doesn't do any work before getting it approved. and-
Well, I think the other thing is we're about to get a new agreement for the next, the
Okay.
upcoming year. And I think this is a point that we need to have clarified so everybody understands the terms of the agreement and there's no ambiguity.
And the letter of agreement that I've seen spells out everyone's rate. And we don't have another agreement that indicates they can charge higher
For us.
on a municipal rate. That's a new term that I haven't heard before. So I think we should stick with our $260 an hour, and if they want to raise the rate, then we'd have to review it again and determine whether we want to pay it or not.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Do we want to do minutes, Rosie?
So where are we going forward?
I think not. I think we'll postpone that.
Okay,
Hi, Chuck. All right.
Hey, Chuck, how you doing?
Where are we going forward with this? Is somebody going to contact? Or
I think we should pull the agreement.
pull it out?
And then will you shoot it to the whole team?
yeah, I'll forward
And we'll go.
Okay.
I would recommend we don't pay any Zoglin bills that have that rate though until we suss it out.
I agree.
Yeah.
Good.
I would make a motion that we leave regular session to enter attorney-client privilege.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we will convene in the front room. You're welcome to stay here. I'll make a motion to return to regular session and leave attorney-client session. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, going to the minutes.
No, we do the clerk's report first.
Okay, okay.
As Steve, your name, indicated, SAREC garbage disposal requested permission to be a garbage hauler in the village. They are also currently working with the town on the bid process for the neighborhood, so they will be serving in that light as well already. So very well they could get a district in the village with garbage, so it seems smart to also license
Approval.
them.
Yes.
So if I can have approval for them to.
I'll make a
license.
motion to issue a license to, what's the name?
SAREC,
SAREC?
Yep.
Garbage haulers?
Yep.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I don't understand. I don't understand that issue, so maybe it's not fair.
okay,
I haven't had any homework on that.
sure. Frankie, second that, right?
Hey.
I'm sure I understood you did well. All right, third thing I had, after the Legion sign, weren't we gonna do something for Legion for their anniversary?
They wanted permission to have their banners up.
No.
Oh, no.
This was, we were talking about a wood sign or something. Apparently you guys talked about it last year at some point with their anniversary. like we have in the building, painting the room downstairs.
Oh, the American Legion room or something?
Yeah, remember you were gonna, we talked about a wood sign or something? Mary?
Oh, yeah, we talked about a plaque, to put downstairs, like the plaque we have for the Osborne room, that we could present on the 100th anniversary, which I think is what, March 31st?
March, they're having a party on March 28th, and that So if we're gonna do that, if the board's gonna move forward with that, we need to do it.
I would authorize that we buy a plaque and, probably the Racing Miller room would be the appropriate name for the room.
Right.
Everybody agree to that? That's the name of the Racing Miller post, which is for 2 veterans.
Do you have a size in mind?
Similar to this,
So it's not going outside.
No, it's gonna go outside, it's inside.
it'd be on the wall above the door.
So it's not gonna be an
into the room.
expensive plaque.
Okay. Do you have a cost estimate?
I have no idea, because Mary reminded me that we haven't done anything with this. And time's ticking. There's no idea.
Want to do it not to exceed, or just say, we're gonna do it, and this is what we're...
Well, we should probably have a not to exceed price. $300?
Huh?
$300?
I'm waiting for-
I have no idea how much plaques are.
I'm guessing a plaque like the one out there could be a couple $100. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I'd say 300 should be.
I think that should be adequate.
Okay.
And if it's anything different, you have to come back and,
We'll
I'll let you
we'll have
know.
a budget meeting on Tuesday. We can approve it then.
Okay, do you know where we got this sign that we?
This was from a place that's no longer here. It was a frame shop. But if you call a picture framing shop, I know of a good one in Greece, they could probably make it for us.
You want to call it the Grayson
Racing Miller room.
Miller Room. Okay.
Okay.
Do I get a motion in a second?
So moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, just a quick update, you'll receive an invitation from Mary's party at the end of the month. Just
Planning to attend.
the calendar, Mary's party, you guys.
It's true.
Okay, now we can run minutes.
okay,
Yes.
does it need to be board authorization for football?
No, it's already approved in the organization.
We budgeted, it's in the budget too, already authorized.
It's done one already in April.
Minutes from January 14th, I had one change. On public hearing, instead of changing of the speed limit, I would just say reducing the speed limit on South Street. Just a little more concise. Any other changes on January 14th?
Looks like you already changed the one that I sent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. One minute. You got one. Okay. Good.
It's in the Airbnb VRBO discussion section. It's really far down into the minutes. You have it there?
Yep.
Okay, about halfway down, trustee Keating expressed concerns with the language used and stated he was concerned with the negative tone. My concern was with the language around hosted rentals specifically. And essentially requiring that somebody who lives in the home be home during the rental. That's my big concern. And then
It was around unhosted.
it was on unhosted, yeah, that's right.
You're talking about Airbnb.
Yeah, so we changed
You
it.
did say I took all that, the other language out of the beginning.
I'm just saying.
Right, yeah, we're not there yet. We're having the meeting notes from the,
section in the draft code that limited
Right.
Airbnbs.
Oh, we gave them five,
so that was the discussion. And then the last one, the last sentence in that, change speak to get input from. It's not about us speaking to the people of the village, it's about us listening to what people of the village want or don't want.
package, can you give me corrections, or you can always email them, and be happy to review. Is there any other?
No, I just want to make sure that we don't change what was.
No, it's not,
said.
it's just,
That's not, I was there, I remember that discussion, you just wanted to have that on the record that,
Yeah, the words weren't right in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 14th as amended. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
January 28th.
This was the short one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Motion to approve. Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And then Lily and Frank abstained.
Okay. What was it?
7:08.
So we're waiting for Jeff for Casey?
Yeah, why don't we just do the benches first? That should be easy, since we've done it before. We have an application from Habitat to reinstall the seasonal benches in the village Erie Canal Park area as they have on previous seasons. I would make a motion that we approve a
Second.
non-municipal use permit. Right?
Do I wait for the second, make a comment anyway?
No, make a comment now. You can make a comment.
I would like the condition of it, they be in the same number and the same position that they previously approved. No changes.
I amend my motion to incorporate the deputy mayor's suggestion. So,
And Frank seconded it.
all in favor of reauthorizing the installation of the seasonal benches at Gentile?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. Let's set the public hearing for the local law allowing override of the tax cap.
Remind me again why we do this before the budgeting? I know we did this last year, but can you just remind me
The
again?
comptroller's office themselves, even if you intend to stay within the tax cap, recommends adopting this local law so you don't incur any penalties in case there's an accounting error or a filing error. It just protects us regardless. In no way does it mean that we're going to override the tax cap. It just, it's something we have to do annually. So tonight, we would just be setting the public hearing, and the date you proposed, Dorothea, is?
I will propose March 10th.
Are you making that motion?
I will make a motion to set March 10th as a public hearing to consider a local law overriding the tax cap. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
That's on the regular cadence of meeting, that's at a regular
That's a
meeting,
regular
not a special one?
meeting.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a
that
regular
sounds
meeting.
good.
All in favor?
The general code changes, questions Jeff was going to address with the board.
Okay.
Is there anything else we want to talk about the DOT bridge closing other than there is an informational meeting this Thursday afternoon? Anything else?
The last meeting with just the three of us, we talked about, was it just the three of us, or was it at our budget meeting, talked about, Supervisor Smith asked us if we were open to pursuing some sort of enforcement on the weekends on Shannon Place when the bridge is closed. And so he's gonna put together some numbers, and he keeps using the language, help us out, the town will help us out. So I don't quite have a good idea of what that means, but he wanted to know, like, were we thinking just during the warm, sunny months on a Saturday and Sunday, or how many hours a day? So we need to put some thought.
Is he talking about speed enforcement or?
Yes.
I see, okay.
I think so, I believe it was the meeting just Dan, you and I, does this sound familiar? Yeah. We have no action items yet, but we just want to keep this top of mind if we do want to.
I'm meeting with Bill on Friday, so
Okay.
I'll try to get an update.
Okay,
on
yeah,
Friday.
he might have some numbers by then. I talked to him on Friday. So.
What would we be paying for?
If when the bridge is closed and everybody's using the detour, if we decided we needed not a sheriff's deputy, but some more economical option of having enforcement down there during the warm weekends.
What would we have to pay for that?
Is he thinking like security for, like we do on candlelight night?
Keep that all, yes, and that's where his numbers are coming from, but something like candlelight and,
They can't issue tickets?
No, they can't issue tickets. Well, let me find out exactly what he's thinking
Yeah.
in terms of what services it would be, and then once we have a proposal, we can discuss it.
Yes, we should have changed it. We was, that was in there.
All right. Yeah, I guess we were doing sooner than expected. Home rule resolution speed limit, I think we can probably go ahead and approve that resolution.
yes. Can I check it somewhere?
Yeah.
Any of those changes?
You did, okay. So we'll likely have to do this again if Senator Funke's office, I don't know if they got back to you, Bob, about whether we need to, what we need to do.
I have not heard from them, no.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see, let's make the resolution. Do you have the language?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's in there. Yeah.
Whereas over the last 14 years, the Village of Pittsburgh has studied and implemented a comprehensive strategy to ensure safer driving behavior and safer pedestrian conditions in the village limits, and has developed a new active transportation plan, whereas reducing the village-wide speed limit to 25 miles per hour is more appropriate for a dense walkable area like the village, and is a proven method to reduce the number of crashes by increasing the driver reaction time. Slower vehicular speeds greatly reduce the severity of vehicular pedestrian accidents, whereas the broad community support and recognition of the growing public's desire for a safe walkable environment as part of a comprehensive village traffic calming plan and active transportation plan, whereas follows national trends for best practices toward achieving safe conditions for all users of public streets, and whereas fulfills recommendations and policies of the village's local waterfront redevelopment plan, LWRP, traffic calming plan, complete streets resolution, and active transportation plan. Now therefore be it resolved, the Village Board of Trustees fully endorses and approves the bill number 2.1042, sponsored by Senator Funke, and bill number A4715A, sponsored by Assemblywoman Burns, to reduce the speed limit on all village and state roads within the Village of Pittsburgh to 25 miles per hour. So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
So we only have to do this because the bill number changed. So we had to pass a new resolution and it's got a new sponsor and it hasn't passed in the assembly. So further, thank you when I add that to the minutes. So.
That's a good idea.
Nate, didn't you recommend a change to that resolution, Assemblywoman?
Yes. No, either one. It said assemblyman before and she's a woman. And so I said either assembly member or assemblywoman. But on her website, she calls herself assemblywoman. So I thought that's fine.
That's fine, I don't have to change it, we're gonna back it.
That's fine.
I added the 25 miles per hour at the end. It doesn't say that, but I think we should include that in the resolution.
Okay. So we have one county road in our jurisdiction, right? Gulf. I didn't think we had any, and then I went on the Monroe County website this morning, and when you bring up their map, that it definitely comes up as a Monroe County road. So does that mean we have to go to them to get permission to lower that if this does pass within the state?
Well, technically, Gulf Avenue is in the town. The boundary between the village and the town is the right-of-way line. So
is that our jurisdiction, or?
well, technically, it's in the town.
Okay, so everything would change except that one little segment then?
Gulf Avenue, we really don't have jurisdiction
Okay, all right, so we could ask the town to lower that.
We could ask the town to do
We get
that.
a lot of concerns about all that.
Yes, it
Okay.
really isn't a village street. It's, the houses on one side are in the village, but the
Okay.
street itself is actually in the town.
Okay,
Okay, so I'm only doing the forms for the assembly, because I think last time I did both the assembly and.
you only need to do it for the assembly, I mean, it's a new.
Because last time, every time I've done it, I think I've sent it to Funky's office and then passed it on to the right people. Or, I'll look at it.
But it's a new home rule resolution, so I don't know, it couldn't hurt to send it to both, even though it already passed the Senate. We're gonna be having a new
Yeah,
bill in
no,
the
that's
Senate
fine.
anyway, yeah,
That's fine.
whenever we change the language, okay.
Because I've only done it when they requested it.
All right, it's 7:17, so we've got 13 minutes till Jeff is here. So I suggest we either tackle the review of the general code or the Airbnb VRBO discussion.
Okay, the review of the general code, is that what we need Jeff's input on?
Yeah, yes, we do, yeah, so let's,
Airbnb as it is.
Airbnb VRBO.
I think to continue what was a matter of concern during the brief discussion we had previously, that was the issue of posted and unhosted for the rental period, the 30-day, whether it was, a week at a time or 30 days at a time. And I understand the concern. I'd like to speak with Steve about that issue of the owner being on the property. Because typically when you rent short-term, the owner is not present in the home. Is there a way for us to address that in what we're proposing in this code? I mean, would it be comfortable to say that they would need to be accessible in some way, that they could be reached?
There are a variety of different, municipalities deal with it a variety of different ways. There seems to be the more the rule of thumb now, and I heard something else today address that in a second, but a short-term rental, if you're renting single rooms in a room, the consensus for a lot of people is that they want the owner, a lot of municipalities want the owner there for that single room rental type item. Now, if you're renting a whole house, obviously no. You don't want somebody there because you're renting a house. So a VRBO is you're renting, to me, is you're renting the whole property. You're renting that whole space for whatever duration that is. A single room Airbnb is up to 3 rooms in your home. And I feel like we should have more control over that. And that it should be regulated a little tighter because, you're renting single rooms as a temporary, quick thing.
How does that differ then, what you're describing with the rental of one room with the owner present? How does that differ from
Because it's
a
not an
B&B?
Airbnb. An Airbnb is renting single rooms, up to 3 rooms in your home. A VRBO, you're renting the
whole house?
property.
And that's what I'm familiar with.
We use different, okay, Airbnb and VRBO, they're sort of now synonymous. I mean, they both rent, typically, you're right, VRBO had the whole house, but you can get a whole house on Airbnb too. So I think we should use the language short-term rental and unhosted and hosted, because I think it's confusing to say VRBO and Airbnb, so that we get, they're kind of the same company now, and they both do the same thing.
Yeah, they're kind of starting to melt more together.
Yes.
Originally, they were completely separate.
Yes, and it typically was rent a room in my house and I'll be here, or, lots of other people will be here, whatever. But, so we need to stick to the terms that are set here with unhosted, hosted, because typically, you're right, the unhosted will be a whole house that you rent, or your guest house, or your whatever it is.
Right.
Versus a bedroom thing.
And I think you could put your language in your law that's saying whether you're renting a whole property or whether you're renting an individual room. A lot of the municipalities are renting, when you're renting an individual room, that is a hosted rental. When you're renting the whole property, it's an unhosted rental.
And if there's language in there that makes it an obligation to have an agent or owner,
But it has to be an owner occupied or
not
owner,
occupied, so you can contact them if there's a problem.
Well, the two, looking around to other communities that have had more pressure from short-term rentals, the most frequent complaints I've heard from residents are houses that are no longer used for, there is no resident.
Right.
Constantly unhosted.
They become a flop house,
And that becomes a problem, because that's when you don't have someone living there, that's when the nuisances start. The other one that I've heard is the frequency of how often the rentals occur, and the ability of the property to accommodate whatever amount of rentals are occurring. I know, like in Skaneateles, they've had problems with when they have festival weekends or weekends in the summer that are particularly busy. Some of the rentals, they've had cars all over the lawns, people parking on adjacent lawns. So that's something that's become a nuisance.
So I think you have to have rules in regards to that. If you rent 3 rooms, you better have 5 spaces at that house.
Right.
Because you're supposed to have 2 for the home itself, and then whatever extra rooms
Whatever
you
extra.
rent, you should have space for those cars.
Right.
Monroe County has, I heard rumor today that they're going to try and charge a hotel tax to Airbnbs now too.
If we have food on that. Yes, the Airbnbs.
Yeah.
So as this, my general take on this is, as this reads right now, it says unhosted short-term rentals shall be prohibited in all zoning districts. I do not think that's a statement or a law we should pass. I maintain that we do need to talk to the people of the village. Frank, your ears may perk up on this. I feel that this is a little bit too much government, that we are asking our government to get involved in something and put a whole bunch of red tape in the middle and have special use permits to be able to use an asset that is legal across the country, and the government's kind of putting process in the way of you making $1 off of your house. The other concern is that the comprehensive plan very clearly states that heritage tourism is something that we support in the village of Pittsburgh, New York. And if somebody wants to rent out a beautiful heritage home, I just don't see why we would get in the way of that.
Well, I think
Also, hold on, it's still at the floor. Also, we have not heard from our villagers that this is a problem. I feel like we're going around and around. This is a solution looking for a problem. And I generally don't think we need to restrict this whole topic.
I think, so, I'm done then? I'm sorry. Thank you. I think that during the comprehensive plan committee's work, they did discuss it, and there were some concerns expressed by villagers regarding properties that were being used as Airbnbs. And so I think they did look at it, and they did talk about it, and we decided to put it off a little because it was a complicated subject. I understand what you're saying about being a homeowner who is permitted to make a profit from their house. I don't know that that's a law anywhere, but let's say that it is, and we don't want to keep people from doing just that, except that not at the cost of the other homeowners. So you're not getting a profit based on the fact that you've inconvenienced your neighbors. So I think what this law does, that is currently in place in Victor, that was in answer to complaints from residents from Airbnbs, and they had quite a bit of property around. It wasn't as if they were close together. The houses were fairly separate, but complaints existed nonetheless from having weddings and so forth. I think that this is a very reasonable provision that we are discussing. I agree that we would not have to limit it to hosted for a whole house rental. I think there's some things that we should talk about with that. But that to give a carte blanche to the entire village to say, anyone who wants to come in and purchase a home and they live in California, and now they're from California, they're managing this house in Pittsburgh that they're renting out, that's not the intent. Our intent is to to maintain residential streets and neighborhoods and communities, and that is not a community use. I think any that's a business, that somebody has purchased a property and is using it as a business, which is different than somebody, your home, and you decide that you want rent it out for the month of July because you're going to be away. There's nothing that precludes you from doing that. You don't have to be there, it's your home and you're renting it out, and there's no problem.
I think that,
This prohibits that.
I think
What you just described, this prohibits that.
For you to do a short-term rental?
The
Yeah,
I
way
don't
the
think we
law
have
is
any-
written right now, the way this
That's
law is
written.
written from Victor, we need to amend the law, because right now it says it prohibits unhosted in all districts.
That's what,
Yeah.
that is what I'm saying that I'd like to discuss, as far as a language change, that would be allowed, that your home, if you wanted to rent it out and you're not there, that as long as you had an agent who was being able to be contacted somewhere in the community for any problems, that that's perfectly fine. You know,
Without a
you want me
special
here,
use
want me
permit?
there,
Without a special use permit?
without a special use permit.
I think what we're trying to do here is be proactive instead of reactive
Right,
when we have a
right.
problem. And I think it's not an all or nothing scenario. I think what we're trying to do is find the right balance that allows people some flexibility of what they can do with their home,
Right.
but doing it in a way that doesn't cause a nuisance or remove the residential character of our neighborhoods, which is what we all value.
Yeah, which is why we talk about renting a whole house living in unhosted. That language in there was meant to be, you know,
Right.
discussed and adjusted. And I would always consider unhosted as a whole house, should be no problem. If you want, like you said, you're going for a month, you should be able to rent a house. When the golf tournament comes here, you want to rent your house for 2 weeks straight out, you don't have to be there.
Right.
You know, God bless you, make good money and, you know, stay at a hotel, you know what I mean?
You don't need a special permit.
It's the single rooms, you know, the single transient type thing that if you open the door to that with no regulations, you're gonna have to go and fight it later. I would prefer to see a little bit of control on it, and if it works and everything works great, you can always loosen a little bit. But if you just open that door wide without knowing what's on the other side, I think it's not being prudent.
Okay, let me just double check. So everybody is clear that where we're going with this is that unhosted would be allowed for a whole house without a special use permit. That's what everybody said and everybody's agreed to. So I just want to make sure that registered with everybody. That's what Steve said, that's what
The
Lily said,
registration
that's
is a
what I
little
said.
bit tricky, but I don't know how you would want to, but I would say, no, I don't think you need to regulate. But do you?
I don't think we need a special use permit for
I
it.
don't either.
I think you might want to register it with a code enforcement officer.
Rental
For the
registration.
liability.
And I think the other thing is you want some limit, so there should be some minimum time that the resident actually has to live there. Otherwise, it's not going to be a residential property anymore. It's going to turn into something else.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
interesting.
But you do have, right now, let me ask you this, on your doubles, the existing doubles in there, do you require the homeowner to be on one side of that double, or can somebody buy a house here as a double and rent it out?
You can certainly rent out a double. You can do that right now.
So you don't limit that, you could, literally, if somebody wants to have a house and rent the thing for 12 months, I don't think you could, if you're allowed to rent it,
That's a good
double
point.
rent it.
You can't, there is, in New York State, there is no way to mandate that you, if it's, anybody can rent any house, so many people.
That's up to the landlord. He's not going to want to, if he wants to mess around.
As long as they're registered within the village as a rental unit, they pay a fee each year and get inspected each year to make sure it's safe. I would have no issue with somebody having a house and renting the whole house to a family or whatever. It's those short-term transient that I think we need to be watchful for.
Yep, I think you're right.
Okay. So we can discuss this further?
Well, I think we have a general consensus on where we're going.
I'm not ready to adopt this as.
No, that's not going to be adopted.
Even with minor changes to the prohibition that are currently in here, I think we need to have some language around.
I will do it at time to modify based on your wishes. I will have to modify it, verify it with Jeff, and then run it by the board again.
Okay.
And it can be brought up again, you know, I mean, to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Steve, I appreciate your efforts. You've taken a couple cuts at this. Why don't we take a couple cuts at it and we'll redline it and circulate. Do you have that in Word?
I believe so.
Could you send it in Word to the group and we'll just
Yeah,
do it with track changes on it, we can see what people want to change and,
okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, all right, next item. The next item we have is finally, thank you for your patience, Casey. We have the anniversary party tent for Lot 32. And
Come on up.
Come on up, Casey, and can you just describe exactly what you're thinking?
So, sorry, my, excuse me, my voice is coming in and out. So March 14th, we're celebrating our 6-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, thank you. It is probably our second busiest day of the year every year. We try our best to control the crowd, but it's kind of a testament to the community that we've built there. So this year we had the thought, weather be damned, to try to put a tent outside. So we had a bit more elbow room, just a 24-hour tent, something that we would put out in the parking lot that is owned by Tech Town's property.
That changes what we talked about earlier, because if it's in the parking lot, it's actually on Ted Collins' property.
And I confirmed that, I actually got a picture, we just rezoned, or got someone over to take a look at the zoning recently after Ted passed away.
You meant village.
Did I say town?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You confused our.
Sorry. I don't know where I was.
He was kind of his face was. Is the parking lot village property though?
No, the parking lot is actually owned by the Collins family. It's the delineation of the property that we control is the boundary between asphalt and pavers. The trees, the little landscaping berm in between, that's the property line, but anything that's asphalt, Ted Collins owns.
Yeah.
Right, so the tank's completely on the asphalt.
What's that?
The tank is completely on the asphalt.
Yes. That simplifies our process, so that's good.
The blue is Tech Town's property, you
Right.
can see.
Yep.
And that is this.
Yeah, he's got it, he's got it.
Okay, sure.
Yep, perfect, okay.
So Dan, I was just showing that, the blue is, I just.
Okay, super, thank you.
It's all Tech Town's property.
Yep.
We just had that redone after Ted passed.
Can you send that to the clerk for our records?
Sure.
That little rascal right there.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yep, just got it on my way in here. So that's.
Little rascal to the clerk.
That's our plan. It will all be on Tech Town's property. We spoke with Andrew and his mother, who are the property owners now since Ted has passed. They're all for it. We also spoke with John from Alliance, and I've got a letter from him as well, also all for it. We've actually talked to a couple local businesses, including Label 7. We've talked about even having Label 7 come down and do some food. And the hope is that's actually parade day, so it's typically a day that's a little bit quiet in the village because everyone goes downtown. So some of the businesses that I talked to are actually pretty excited to perhaps have a draw coming down, and obviously also including some local businesses for some food. I think it'd be a really good collaboration.
And if I may, from all I've heard, you got a letter from Aladdin saying that they're okay.
Yeah, I've got one signed right now. And that I got today after we talked a couple times on the phone.
Okay.
And I've got an email from just our landlord also saying the same.
Good.
So special permit amendment for authorizing on the date, right? Like we've done, it's for five. Yeah, okay, good.
So yeah, that March 14th is a bit tight. I can't do much in regards to the tent or the liquor authority or any of that until I have a go ahead. So I'm waiting on all of that for approval.
Yeah, it's that.
That all came this afternoon after we spoke.
Now, for approval, we have to waive the 45-day notification, and we have to waive.
Let Jeff
Yeah.
comment on that.
You know,
So that, Frank, that would be a non-municipal use permit, which this no longer is because it's not on, it's village property. Right. It's a worse problem. Amendment of the special permit requires a public hearing. As soon as we could meet, plug your ears,
March 11th,
March 2nd.
what's that?
So if, because it's not on any sort of public property, so if our tent had been on village property, the first permit I did would have been different.
I think if it had been totally on village property, you probably could have skated by the special permit and just, I thought about this a lot today, trying to figure out how we can solve this problem. And probably technically, since you are operating it, it probably would require a special permit amendment as well. But if we're talking about somebody, you, putting up a tent to do something on municipal property, it could probably be a non-municipal use permit, provided you got the insurance, provided you get all the information. I don't know if that helps. I'm not altogether
Does
comfortable
March
with it.
2nd, does that give you enough time, Casey?
It makes me nervous.
How about,
Just because I need to advertise it as well, so it does cut a little bit close.
how about if you, and I'm not trying to back anybody in any corners, if you poll the board, everybody's reaction to it. What?
Previously, when we've had requests about privately owned business making a profit or doing business on public property, hasn't that been an issue? In other words,
There is a complicating issue with that. I think you're going in the right way, Casey, because we have, for the dock area, the wharf that we maintain, right now, we don't charge anybody for anything. So we don't have to pay New York State anything. If there was any profit making entity that made money off of what we did, that wasn't a not-for-profit as the same patches, then we would have to charge a fee and give part of that fee to the New York State Canal Corporation. So I think in the long run, I think this is a much simpler route. I think it's cleaner, it makes sense. Certainly, I think most of us are in favor of what you're doing. You're a great business and we want to support you. And we're just trying to figure out, given the lack of notice, how can we make it happen within the time frame that we have so you can do what you want to do.
Question for Jeff, can we do a sort of off-cycle trustees meeting that is earlier than the, what did you say, March 2nd?
We have to
Or is
notice.
that the minimum amount of time before? Okay,
Well,
thanks.
it won't go in the paper until next Thursday.
Okay.
And then 10 days from next Thursday is the 1st, which is Sunday, so
Okay.
the 2nd is Monday.
Okay, thank you.
So when you mentioned the option for non-municipal permit, that would be a one-off situation that would
But Bob just told you what the problem with that is. And I didn't even think about the fact that we have a partner, or a landlord really, in the guys of the Canal Authority, whoever's running that thing.
And this goes back to 1994 when we first put the dock in. It's a contract.
The only thing that I'm confused, and this is an explanation of the code for me. So my special use permit allows me to operate at 10 Shown Place. This is not a permanent structure, it's a temporary structure that's not within that special use building that I'm currently licensed for. So I'm a little nervous about opening up our special use permit for something that's a one-off temporary structure.
But we're gonna restrict it to a date and a time and a tenant and conditions, so it won't be opened up. If we had had more time, another avenue that you could have done is you could have gotten a temporary use permit from the ZBA, the planning.
Not probably not, I mean, I really think he's going.
He's going
it's the right way.
I'm not sure I have to look.
That's
Bob,
legitimate.
before I understood your question. Are you worried about your other special permit conditions changing?
Potentially, if we
No.
open it up in a public hearing.
No. No. The only issue that would be before the board would be whether or not they would grant an amendment allowing you to have that one day of operation. If they went further than that, they would be acting in an arbitrary, capricious fashion.
We can't ungrant anything.
Oh, that's good to know, I just,
Yeah,
Your protect question.
Yeah, but I didn't think we really got your question, that's it.
Okay, that is my.
No, we cannot go beyond what you're asking.
And now my other question would be, so if we went through this process and we had a public hearing and I've got to talk to my business partner, the timing works and all of that, is this something that can be approved based on us adjusting our special use permit so that next year when we're gonna do this, I don't have to go through the whole process, but I can come to you for like a renewal of this amendment. I won't have to go through a public hearing and all that, assuming I want to do this. This is the biggest bust in the world.
Well,
If one time only.
so, what I would say to you is, part of this is my fault, because I was sick, and I wasn't here when this was discussed, so you can yell at me. My germs. If you know you're gonna do this, like within the time frame you thought you were gonna do it, you could have been nearly done by now. So if we have enough lead time, we know it's,
Every year.
yeah, you just do like, who comes in on an annual basis? The tree guy comes in on
That's
an annual
temporary
basis.
use permit.
Yeah, but he
The hot
has
dog guy does.
he has a calendar, so he knows to come in if he's gonna do it.
It's very similar, Trustees has a tent in the town parking lot every year. The Sam Patch comes in every year, and so if we can just get on a calendar, it's easy. Yes, we'll have a public hearing, but we can schedule it, it'll be an easy
So
process.
you could do it, I'm sorry, I interrupted. You could do it in December.
Yeah, well, that's fine, and I don't even know if we're gonna do it again. I was just a question, when I hear that, maybe, I don't know, in March, we'll see. When I hear the language of amending our special use permit, I didn't know how far that carried,
No, right that far.
just that. So
One day.
And then the whole permit for the 1 day.
It will say, we are amending your special permit so that you may.
The Pittsburgh Pulp has done this numerous times when they
Oh, yeah.
have chosen to have a tent over their outdoor patio. No different.
Okay.
Question.
Yes.
How are your patrons accessing the tent? Is it like a covered walkway between your establishment and underneath the tent?
Yeah, so our plan is right now to aim it to our back door, which is the former game gambit side. So there's gonna be walls so no one can just enter.
Okay.
Ideally, what we'd like to do is have it fenced to that door, so that the only way to get into the tent is to come in our front door and then come into the tent. So, and it's gotta be fenced for them anyways, I can
Yeah,
have another
right.
access point,
Can I
I
ask
don't
a
wanna do that.
question, because I don't really get the layout of this building that well.
But there's a door on the end of the building.
Is that gonna get you onto Canal Land at all?
No.
No, according to the.
That would be concerned.
Okay, good. All right, because I was just gonna say.
Yes, guidelines for you also,
Oh, yeah, in everything.
right?
Yes.
So
So
the
we'll get,
concern would be any patrons exiting your establishment, either from the tent or from the building and being on Canal.
They wouldn't be able to, they'd have to go into Lock 32, the building, and go out through.
so there's no chance, because if there's any chance at all, my suggestion is you get an non-municipal use permit. Anyway, that way if you change or anything changes, and you happen to be using any piece of the canal land just for transit, that will never happen.
no, I mean, no more than any other business
Yeah.
anywhere.
There's barriers in between, so I think it's you're gonna stay on
Right.
the
Well, yeah,
towers.
For, he already has a non-municipal
Yeah.
permit application, and you could, I mean, just as a,
We could grant it anyway.
yeah, I mean, it's already here, and you could wait for 45 days to prove it.
This hearing anyway.
Yeah, so if you're certain your use is not gonna be other than people walking up the canal path where they've parked down a shade place somewhere and coming around and coming to Lock 32, then I wouldn't bother.
So it's in my best interest to keep it entrance and exit in one place for the liquor authority purposes, because I need to check IDs and do all of that. To confuse that with other doors does not make sense, which is why we want to.
It protects you.
To the public.
Okay, good.
So the question tonight is, does anybody object to this?
I don't check, I have a question.
Yep.
Not that I have any say. Is there any
Uh-oh.
way we can waive the special permit? The public hearing?
Now, Steve and I talked about this. Not only is it in our code, and it's questionable to me whether or not that's waivable because of the language, but it's in state law. We're public hearing referring to state law, and there's no supersession language in our code.
But I don't think there's not gonna be any debate. I think we've flushed out the issues tonight, so it really is a formality, it's a legal step we have to do, but I don't want you to think, we're gonna make you walk through the hot coals.
And from a business owner standpoint, and this is not necessarily a reflection of this board or aimed at this board at all, but anytime I need to put up thousands of dollars for an event that even has a remote possibility of not going through, from a business owner, it's terrifying enough, and I've got a business partner that may say, no way, not worth it, we'll do it at our other location and, you know,
Well, I think we can probably assure you tonight that we have the votes to pass it.
and if you could hold a vote for my own well-being, I don't know if you're able to do that. I
Not
would love to
typically,
hear.
when it
I
asks
heard-
us
I
our
heard-
opinion.
We
Can't
can do
make
a
a
straw poll, because we can't do it, yes.
That's fine.
I have a question, and this is probably for you. Does home rule trump state?
Home rule says that if you, first of all, home rule we're talking about says, if it's clearly a subject of state control, like the state liquor authority, you may do nothing.
Right.
If you want to supersede home rule, you want to supersede, you have to put a supersession clause in your statute.
So a rule or a code in the village that's different than the state's?
If it wants to be different from the state, it has to put a supersession clause in there.
So what, you need some assurance from us, it sounds like, is there anything that we can?
Well, I think what Jeff was suggesting is we do a straw poll from the board, so you have an idea of how we feel about it. Am I correct?
I was suggesting that, yes, you give general opinion about what you think about this, given the circumstances. None of them-
Doesn't he need some kind of indication from the board to provide to the state liquor authority?
I don't think so.
I can't do that until I have approval.
And he has to have the actual.
Well, you've got to get
The
approval.
state liquor authority is,
They actually need a permit from the municipality to do a one-day event.
yeah, I'll have to get a one-day tasting permit, which shouldn't be a big deal, but the way that the liquor authority goes, even when I open up an establishment, you have to show it essentially like up and ready, and then they want to hear it, they want to get it back out, so I've reached out to them and talked to our attorney, and he said they won't do anything until you have approval, tent booked, everything set, and then you give them the wrapped gift, and then they give it back to me and say, okay, go.
And is that today a pretty quick turnaround, or is March
The-
2nd kind of gonna?
So anytime you deal with the state liquor authority, their timeframe that they give you should be within that ballpark, but they tend to always be lagging, and that's part of where our attorney has an attorney in his office that their whole job is the state liquor authority. So I will go back to him tomorrow with this timeframe and kind of trust him, but you never know, that's part of what's scary about this.
Well, I would, speaking for myself, would be fully in favor of granting you a special use permit
Amendment.
for the amendment. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's as long as everything's in place, I have no problem with that.
What do you mean by place? Like, as long as like the.
You know, yes, a number of the things that we discussed this evening regarding making certain the number of patrons spilled out into
Of
the
course.
canal lands and
Okay.
that you cleared everything with. And did you ask the hotel at all?
I
Because of
have,
the parking?
I have not, I certainly can. Louis is a really good friend that we work together, they deliver there from in, so I can promise you it will not be an issue, but I'd be happy to get it in writing before the public hearing.
Okay.
Most of the businesses I've talked to have been in the whole this, but we've got a pretty good tight-knit group, and we're all trying to kind of lift that part of town up a little bit. It's been a little sleepy lately, so I'm happy to provide it if
Great.
Okay. Parking lot.
Renee?
No issues at all.
No issues. I think we have no issues.
Okay.
So we'll see you in a
Appreciate it.
second.
And if the second's an issue, I can just call you tomorrow, and then we'll address it.
Let's tell them concerns.
Well, concerns from my own side.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Even from mine.
make a motion to set the public hearing for the temporary, correct, what do we do?
Special use permit amendment on March 2nd.
There you go.
Perhaps not part of it.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
And that would be at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Casey, do you need two of the trustees to sing at your event?
It would, we're trying to
It
drive some
won't be
business,
me.
so if I can get the trustee band in there, I think that would push through the much.
Oh, oops,
We have
Casey.
a third member of the band in the crowd as well.
Are you talking about music?
Pardon
Are you
me?
talking about music under the tent as
No,
well?
no, it's a joke.
That's a joke.
We have music inside. Yes, music inside.
Okay, thank you, Casey. Thank you for your patience tonight.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
There you go.
Okay,
Guys, I have to run. Can I do one member item and then scoot out of
go
here?
ahead, Dan.
My one member item was Justin Balistra asked me why the new code isn't yet up on the website. We're
It is
2.5 months. It is?
It's,
Under local law.
No, but in the search capability.
because it's not codified yet.
Okay,
Once it's codified, it'll be in the code
It'll be
section,
searchable.
but right now, it's in the new law.
okay. So when does it get codified?
When
That's
it's
the next
published
thing,
by
that
general
because
code.
there's a question that general code had regarding the local news code.
Okay,
As soon as they answer it, I pass it to them, we should be at the end of that right now.
okay, so days and weeks, not weeks and months.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's soon,
Okay,
soon.
thank you.
But it's there up on the website.
Of course, yeah, thank you. Okay, thanks, guys.
Okay. Okay, so the last item we had was review of the general code and the code change questions.
Thank you, Jeff.
That's why I was hiding.
That's why we were waiting for you, Jeff.
Yes, I told them you had all the answers.
You are so mad at me for that special meeting.
I am.
Thanks, guys. Sorry.
All right, Dave.
So the first one is whether or not we can change the code section from 211 and 212 respectively to 178 and 112 for alphabetical reasons. I don't care, but so it's your call.
For alphabetical reasons?
Yeah, they want the code to be, historic preservation would be 112 and subdivision would be 178.
I have no objection.
I don't care either. That sounds like a little
Okay.
better.
So yes.
Okay, yes.
Okay, yes.
This one I emailed Chuck and I got no response. Right now in our code, we have 210 19.1s through 19.5. The first set is in the building inspector, or the code review section, I'll tell you something where it is. And the second one, of course, is the R5 ordinance, is numbered 210 19.1 through 19.5.
I see.
And they wanted to renumber the R5 to 210 1 through 5.
It's still gonna be called.
I think that doesn't matter because it's not a content change. It's only
It's just
an
organization.
administrative.
That was sort of my thought, but I didn't get an answer from Chuck, but I assume that's because he doesn't care.
I think he doesn't care, and I'm pretty sure that would be the answer.
Administration, we have the first 210 19.5, 19.1 through 19.5 is administration and enforcement. That's actually R5. Okay, so Dorothy, that's a yes? Yes, sir?
Just
What about number 3?
He was waiting.
I just wanted one thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The Airbnb stuff, if you wish, I will send it to everybody, you make your modification, send it back to me, I will try and put it into one form versus everybody trying to bring in
Yeah.
5 different ideas.
I think it would be helpful, just as in the same way that with Dorothea with the minutes, if you're the clearinghouse, it just keeps one non-partisan, impartial person that can manage it and make sure that we all have the same copy.
Yeah, wouldn't mind doing that, so if everybody makes their changes, send it to me, I'll put it together in one form, send it back out to everybody, and it's easier to discuss versus sitting here in a meeting trying to get 5 different.
Yeah, because we don't want a document changed that we haven't approved the.
Okay.
That would be good. Thank you, Steve.
Yep, have a good night.
You too.
And number 3, they were correct. There is a duplication of tables that shouldn't be there.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's just for our next iteration of the code, we will remove it. It isn't,
It isn't a big deal, it's
it's
just
not a
in
big
2
deal.
places. Okay.
It's the chart that goes with the preceding section.
Yep.
So that was duplicated, so
Okay.
unsurprisingly, I think.
Yay.
that
Okay,
we went through.
so then I'll forward these answers on to general code tomorrow.
Yeah, the third one is thank you, we've got it noted, I hope, we've got it. Are you creating that file of changes?
Sure. This will be my first one to put in.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, that it, Jeff?
Well, I can tell you, I can report in 30 seconds on the CCA. I talked to Robert Cagle of the town, he's the town council, who had reached out to what town? I can't remember the town you told me.
Right,
No. The town that already has the CCA with Jewel and Rocktricity involved, and it's going well.
Down in Westchester County,
No, it's closer than that.
Geneva.
Yeah, maybe, I
I
think
think
you're right.
it's Geneva.
I think it's, yeah, that's it. Is there a town in Geneva?
There is a town of Geneva, yes.
That's who we spoke with. So, I've talked about this. Rocktricity does not want to be part of the contract. It's not really clear to me why they don't, but they're not part of the contract in Geneva. They have like a subcontracting contract with Jewel. So Jewel's the only signatory to the municipality's contract. We've sent back the proposed CCA. When I say we, I mean Council for Ronco, Brighton, the town and the village, to Jewel's council with Rocktricity still in the agreement. We feel like it probably won't survive. And I think I talked to Robert today, who thought the town would probably be okay with that based upon his conversation with Geneva Council. I told him that we probably wanted to stay sort of in step with the town, because that is sort of what you and I talked about that.
Yep.
So I think that's the way it's going to end up. I think Rocktricity will be not part of the contract. They are not really a formal entity. They're sort of a thing. They're not really, I don't think they're a corporation. They're just a bunch of people who want to say, who want to go green.
A loose association dedicated to an environmental cause.
That's what I thought. So, one other bad news, I think it's bad news, could be good news, bad news, that I discovered today, contrary to the belief that I've had for years, that the clerk has had for years, and that Bob has probably had for years.
We're not going to tell anybody.
Well, I think I had it. In the context of thinking that they might be on our property, the Block 32, there is no statewide general prohibition against the service of alcohol on municipal land.
Really?
I got that. I spent 2 hours looking for it, and I before I did that, though, I emailed Beltramo, and he finally got back to me and said, what are you talking about? There's no statewide prohibition.
Because years ago when I performed weddings here, I was told that they couldn't have any alcohol.
I've always operated myself under the rule of
alcohol.
container.
Yeah.
But I know that you cannot have open containers. You can't have
You
open
could do
containers.
whatever you want
Hmm?
on village property, provided that you probably have a policy, and you probably ought to talk to your insurance guy. And I think that for some of our meetings, it would be a bad idea.
We've talked about this already.
I think the state liquor has, they do have their guidelines for outside service, and it includes a fence, because you
Yeah, well,
cannot have underage people going back and forth.
Probably.
But I
I
think
know
what
that
we've
they do.
always thought is we can't have wine or
Well,
anything
I mean,
like that.
Right
and then
here, if we have a
No, you
Christmas
cannot.
party, we can't have.
No, apparently we can't.
We can't have wine?
Isn't that what you're saying?
You're saying we can't, so Mary's.
There's no prohibition is what
But I
I've
think,
learned.
but I think it's probably a good policy to have that we do.
Because you're liable if somebody.
Well, of course.
You could get out of hand.
We're not-
There's- You saw that.
Because the next day, the person came around and told us, we could shut us down.
Liability.
Yeah.
Well, so
Yeah.
did you guys, come on.
I don't think we changed the way we operate, but it's interesting because I know
I
this
couldn't,
belief has been ingrained
I
in
could
me
not
since.
Me too. So it came from somewhere, but anyway.
well, we all think it.
Okay, is executive session, is there a reason that's on there, or
I
is it
think
just
that
a
was for
placeholder?
the attorney
Okay.
client, we always have it as a placeholder,
Okay.
so.
So I will make a motion to adjourn if no one objects.
At second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Rob, I